Okay, and good evening. And I've been really looking forward to this evening, this Thursday evening's webinar and sharing. And you know, we've been doing some amazing work at Business Benchmark Group. And when I say we, not just my team and I, but the whole community of Business Benchmark Group. I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled for every one of your advancements and your clarity around your 26-week rolling cash flows and your quote registers and your work in progress registers and just the collaboration for each of you and your teams right now is just benchmark. I mean, truly remarkable. And please, no complacency and keep on pushing and hustling and moving the opportunity forward for each one of you. And I am really excited for tonight's sharing and the interview I have tonight with Graham Koch, the owner, the founder, a man that some of you have met. Many of you will know when you've met Graham. He's he's the epitome of vision and energy and people care factor. He's just an incredible human being, an amazing person who I've come to know over the last 5 years in various work and assignments and projects that we have. ACE Contractors Group and the Business Benchmark Group as an affiliate relationship. Yeah, in 1961, Graham started. He started his first business, at the tender age of 20 years old. And in 1971, ACE started as ACE Contractors Group. And in 1989, the company was restructured and ACE Contractors and staff commenced to allow staff ownership in the business. That was June 1989. And, just think about the time frame between 1961 and 1989 before it opened up for, ownership for the team. That's a mature business at this point. 1996, ACE, the ACE Contracting Group, celebrates its 25th year anniversary. And there's just pages here of just brilliance. In 2009, the group reached an employment milestone of 100 full-time employees on the books. And, it just goes on. Three full pages here as far as a bio and a representation of excellence. In 2017, ACE's head office moved from Eltham to Nunawading. So it is a rich history that is the business called ACE Contractors Group and the history of the business versus the history and the journey of the man that is Graham Koch, the owner, the visionary, the person that goes out of his way to say it the way it is. And I know he's nervous about this interview, as I am in interviewing him. And we are here to have a conversation and provide so much insight and dig a little bit deeper as to what does it take to own and run a business for 60 years, for which, in fairness, he doesn't need to be at work because he's got plenty of people around him, but he goes in every day. He's one of the first to get in. He's one of the last to get out. He loves it. He so loves it. So we're going to get some amazing insights for a man that's been at the helm of business and team development and growth and business ups and downs and economics ups and downs and recessions and peaks. And he has 3,000 weeks of experience, for which we're going to do our best in the next 57 minutes to condense it all. So that's my intro for what is going to be a phenomenal 1 hour and sharing with an amazing man called Graham Koch. Graham, over to you.
Welcome to ACE's offices. Welcome on this journey together tonight. Let's show you our offices. I've cleaned the fish tank for you tonight. Old 1950s foundry. We've made a difference to it.
So these are the brand new headquarters of ACE since 2017, an amazing building that's been refurbished and remade in Nunawading to be this amazing spiritual headquarters of this amazing business that's just going from strength to strength. As Graham is going up the stairs, I've done plenty of work in the boardroom. You'll get to see at the top of the stairs, and what you'll see here is his common area, the common area where they congregate and build so much team culture. Over to you, Graham.
Yeah, well, we often have 80 odd people here. not at the present because of space, but 80 people, and it's also a cafe, our boardroom. We have some Aboriginal art there. We can change the colour of the lights. Tonight I've got blue for you. I love blue.
So this is the headquarters, which houses approximately 25% of the head count is internal. It's not only upper management, but upper management that's very committed to growing talent, growing people. And we'll hear in a moment, I mean, the shape of ACE Contractors Group as to all the different departments that make up the whole group. Please feel free to put your questions forward to Graham and myself as we go forward. I've got a really good list of questions that I want to be running as it relates to the interview we're just about to commence. And it was important to see and/or walk through the headquarters that is befitting a business that started in the early 60s. You know, I've been in various conversations in the last week or two, and in fairness, since 1992 when I started in business, as it relates to building people and building teams, and it takes a lot of it takes plenty of courage to build a business. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of I guess risk, and it takes a lot of belief. And sometimes you look up to the sky and you think, is it all worth it? But I think for many of us in business, it is worth it. And we're going to hear a story in a moment that's befitting that. But before we get going, I just thought, how can I get the most out of what should be a 10-hour interview with this amazing man who I so respect so much? However, I thought I would start, Graham, and I know I'm going to catch you off guard now, but I thought I would start the interview or our sharing here today. And it's a conversation. I need you to be, as always, straight down the barrel with me, and I'm going to seek your quick response to the following words. So I'm going to say a word, and you're going to give me your quick response. And it may be 5 words or 10 words that you share for the word I'll give you, but that will give us a little bit of a warm up here to get the blood flowing. And I've got some really good questions here, and you're okay to ask me a question too, Graham, which I know you normally do. And I so enjoy it when you do that and you put me on the spot. And everyone else listening and participating, please put your questions forward, because we will have some time towards the end of today to make sure we're addressing some of your questions. So, Graham, I'm going to say a word and you will give me a response. The first word I'm going to ask is relationships.
How do I make it happen? How do I slow down to make it happen?
Mindset.
Ego.
And what do you mean by that?
Oh, having a set sort of goal, a set purpose that is not going to be swayed. I'm just going to go for it.
Strong-minded.
Determination.
Truthfulness.
I often think when I'm not truthful, I often think of the opposite. I try to be as frank and truthful as I possibly can, and sometimes it gives people the shits.
Vulnerability.
Let's make it happen.
Team culture.
What a terrific goal. What a terrific purpose. What a if you want to make things happen, that's where you got to go.
Mentors.
Yeah, well, they're very helpful. They've helped me since I was 6 or 7 years of age, when I couldn't spell or read, and I had people that helped me learn. Some of it didn't make any effing difference, and others really helped me.
Gratitude.
Am I allowed to swear tonight?
Yeah, of course you are. Mate, that's this. Mate, you come from the heart tonight, mate. Gratitude.
It's a nice feeling.
And last, money.
It's a good measuring stick.
Thank you, Graham. That sort of gives us a little bit of an insight, gives us a little bit of a warm up. Now, your business, as it stands today, employs. I'm gonna round it off to 150 people in your full time payroll.
No, we've got about 300, just under 300, I think.
Thank you for correcting that. And a business that started in the 1960s that in the 2020s has 300 people gainfully employed. And I know you have leadership team and structure, and it's not all on your shoulders. So let's make that very clear. And you do have a choice to be there, not be there. It's not you're being there to work hard right now, but 300 people employed. And give us an understanding of 300 people and the makeup of 300 people for you. What does the makeup of 300 people at ACE actually look like?
Well, we have 40 different nationalities. We have a primary teacher that works on the 3rd floor in our mindfulness centre, integrating them, even teaching about Australian buddy slang. If we swear of a bloke that's come from the Middle East, he doesn't know what the hell we're talking about. So we got to teach him about slang, toilet paper, and what else, you know? So we have a primary teacher, but it's also how do we communicate with them. I've got some investors coming and architects coming from Vietnam. So I get one of my Vietnam people that work for me to sit in and give a feedback of what the hell's going on underneath the conversation from their cultural point of view. You with me?
I love that.
I had an Indian interview the other day, and I had a young lady, she's 34, from India, and I brought her in, and it just changed the whole atmosphere of the interview.
And I know how important team and culture and diversity and acceptance, but I also know you're a hard taskmaster as it relates to transparency and accountability, being the best you can be. You will be supported, but you've got to give me the best you could be. I know this is why I so connect with you, Graham, because that is the walk that I walk too. So in knowing that and having 300 people on your team right now in an environment, let's leave the COVID-19 thing behind us. What keeps you awake at night knowing that you are ultimately the person responsible for 300 families as a minimum?
Yeah, well, we've got another 500 to 1,000 subbies. So, and they're part of the team. We give a prize each month to the best 2 subbies and send home maybe flowers to the wives, and they just love us. And we pay them on time or even earlier. So they love that better.
So what keeps you awake? What keeps you awake when you think about that? You know, the weight of 300 plus the extended workforce of 500 to 1,000 subbies, depending on which programs you're on.
I've got Zach here and Omro, he's a lawyer, and Zach's in IT, and they're supporting him. And I got Lisa here because I work in a group usually, and I asked them to be here to support me right now talking to you. So that's how I work. But I might think of Omro, you know, he's panicking about getting this bloody, you know, dying of this disease that we got hooking around here. You know, how do I handle him? What do I bring forth of that? So I'd worry about that.
And it's really, I mean, spending 5 minutes with you, you do get to understand that. So again, I'm just going to reinforce and keep on reinforcing the impact of leadership for everyone listening.
Stefan, that's why, you know, these 2 people you've trained, and then you've trained another 8 or 10 of my staff. And that's why I take a photograph of them when they go in the morning. And then after being with you for 2 hours, I take another photograph. And that tells me, are you doing a job or not?
And what do you normally see when you take the before?
Oh, they usually no, most of them are really alive. Not many are half dead.
Thank you, Graham. And we are into putting life into businesses, let alone the people who work in the businesses. So I guess when you think about your journey, Graham, and you know, it's been a great journey, and you're here and you think back, And I'm sure there's moments as I reflect on, okay, well, here are my learnings, here's my lessons, here's my unbelievable things I shouldn't go again. What are, if any, regrets for you? What are, when you think about the span and the peaks and troughs and the hard decisions I'm sure you made along the way to get here, what are, if any, regrets?
I think I could have spent more time with my family. I did when the kids were younger, and we used to go up to Fraser Island camping a lot, but I could have spent more time with my family. I was business orientated. I've got farms, properties, construction, investment. In some ways, I had high energy, and what the hell did I do with it? You know, sometimes I thought I'd just have sex all the time, but, you know, I got involved in the business world, you know.
And what would be your learnt and very progressed experience or advice as it relates to the home life balance? I mean, what is your, you know, learning from your own journey, and we all do, I guess, what is the, in less than 10 words, what would be advice that you have for people listening to you right now as it relates to the work-home life balance?
That's a good question. And how do we as business people, and you've got a lot of young people starting off, how do they honour themselves and nurture themselves in the pressure of doing that? And I'm 80 now, and I'm still bloody learning it.
I know. It's unbelievable. And you are such an inspiration for many, including me, mate. It's brilliant being in your space. You know, we work with business owners who are in their late 40s and early 50s, and God love them. I mean, they're great human beings, males and females, who are certainly, you know, one of our clients has got an actual buzzer in his office as to the minutes and the seconds counting down to his retirement. And I'm talking about, he wants to retire and that's all he's focused on. It's like, okay, that's cool. That's not a bad goal to have. However, there's such a life ahead of you. And if everything's about counting down, what are you counting up?
Yeah, well, I just love working with people and supporting them on their journey. They mightn't talk much about their journey, but you sort of sense it biologically, how we connect. And some people don't connect with me, and I drive them nuts. Even if they walk past me, you know, they get, it's difficult for them because I have a sense of heightened sensitivity that I want to make it happen. And if my staff walk slower than me and they're 25, well, I'm on their back.
And I'm just, oh, you're a great man. And I love the slogan, ACE makes it happen. You know, it's amazing to have you sitting underneath that very beautiful tagline. Rob, it'd be a good idea to get the video ready in a moment. And before we go there, so your journey, Graham, and reading through the bio and so many pages of it, your journey, and as it relates to building team, growing people, and helping them be better and making it happen, you know, is a critical path to success. Is what I've come to understand of you and your team, of course.
Yeah, but it comes out of my inadequacies. For me to cope and remember names, and I'm not computer illiterate, but I seem to find, and I can't do software, but I can pick up people around the world or in Melbourne that can do that for me. And it doesn't matter if they're in a coffee shop or a restaurant, I find them somehow. And they
so let's unpack that a little, because, you know, I was in a conversation earlier today and last night with a member in our private Facebook page, and she was looking for talent. I believe it'd be a family business, and you know, I can sense the frustration for her, and I understand it. Looking for good people is a difficult thing for everyone in business, and I just want to tap into your tolerance for finding talent and growing talent. What can you give us as pearls of wisdom, Graham, for looking into people and reading further than just the first impression? What do you have as your critical, I guess, points of assessment as it comes to meeting someone for the first time that may not have the competency yet, but they have, in your opinion, or your very quick assessment, the attitude? What is it that you look for when it comes to not just young, but just talent? What is that you look for?
I suppose I look into my own body. You could call it a gut feeling, but it's an energetic of knowingness. And usually it's about 80% right. Often it's wrong, 20% wrong. I do make mistakes. But somehow there's a connection, a biological connection, an energetic, a sense, it's palpable. It's sort of, you can feel it in the air.
And it is energy, isn't it? It is an energy. And you don't even need to be, rah-rah in the energy to feel energy in someone. Someone that's got go, get you, I want it. You can feel that. It's not what they say. It's not even what they do. You can just feel that energy. That's my take on that.
And I agree with you. Steph and I agree with you. And that's what we've tried to create in these offices. When you walk in here, you'd think it's an advertising agency or something completely out of the square. But what the hell goes on here? That's what people say, So that's what we're trying to create. And each individual has to create that as well to make it larger. And how do we do that?
Yeah, and it's fair to say, Graham, that, it's up to the leader to set the standard. It's up to the team to raise the bar on the standard. That's my take. Your take?
Yeah, well, that's right. We've got to create an energetic and support for these people. And I just asked for these people to sit and support me tonight. So it's a to and fro. And, these people here are supporting me energetically. And I bloody push them and support them. And I want them to make it happen. So it's a give and take.
And you're running a business that has many millions of dollars invoiced every month, many, many people and families being fed every day. And you are a stickler for team and culture and giving people a chance. On that, you did an amazing recruitment drive about a year ago. And I remember this because we certainly had a look at it, and we were really proud of the final product. And Rob, if you could please play this. This goes for about 4 minutes. It's so worth looking at what truly, truly, truly goes into energy and building culture and what is truly under the hood as it relates to Ace Contractors Group and led by Graham Cox. So let's have a look at this video. It goes for about 4 minutes. This was used for helping people put their hand up to take a ticket to line up and join the team at Ace Contractors Group. This is going back about a year and a bit. Go, Rob.
My philosophy for success is you get the culture right and the people right. That's 85% of it.
At ACE, what we're trying to achieve is a caring culture, one that helps people to flourish, to grow. We want to encourage them in their professional development, of course, first and foremostly, but we also care about the individual.
At the moment, I'm a project manager, so I'm in the landscape division. My role involves essentially being on top of what's happening in the project, what's being built, how it's being built, and the guys that are on site, keeping them up to date with what needs to be done. ACE is a place that provides a lot of opportunity, and ACE has shown me how I can grow to be a better person, and then that makes me a better worker, and that makes my life better.
It is a caring organisation. It is one that tries to take the whole person into account.
ACE is a great place to work because they accept everyone. The team are really welcoming. I actually thought coming here it was going to be being a construction company, be a very macho kind of egoed environment, but it's not.
I look for their vulnerability. I'm not looking for great egos.
I think one of the strengths that we have at ACE is that we have a very multicultural workplace.
We have 37 different cultures here, and how do we integrate? How do their dreams and our dreams join? That's a journey.
We are quite separated. We're across, different work sites, and so we try to employ many ways to bring our staff together, and we do that through our multicultural morning teas.
It started off many years ago with people just sharing their morning teas, and then we opened it up to really asking questions about their biographies, and people really enjoy that. They really, really enjoy sharing it and listening to it.
We were doing some things that were cutting edge at the time. We'd started mindfulness classes. We had implemented some new processes with our onboarding and recruitment. We had already been doing some good work in the mental health and well-being side of things.
They have groups here that I've been a part of with mindfulness. That's been extremely helpful for me to be able to bring that into a workplace. Commercial construction can be a pretty intense atmosphere, and so having that part of my life brought into the work world has been extremely helpful.
We have floral art classes. It's amazing the way you have young and old, admin and engineer come together and just chat and learn about this.
We have an IT think tank. It's what's going to happen in the construction industry in the next 5 to 10 years.
Our company think tank it's a meeting by various members of our team and our staff, and we come together and we discuss and research possible IT and technology solutions. In the think tank, everyone has an equal discussion. Everyone's ideas are taken under consideration, and anyone can suggest anything.
How do you create an energy of aliveness in people? And the environment they work in is important to create that. As their home is where they're developing their children, how do we want to make a difference where people really feel alive and healthy? And that's what this office is about.
So wherever you are and you've just watched that, just a bit of a round of applause, I think, because, and let's not kid ourselves, growing a business, growing a team, getting to 100 people, getting to 300 people, building a business where its revenue lines are over 100, 120, 150 million dollars a year, and making sure that you got profit at the end to be here next year, particularly in construction where you're dealing with fine margins, is not for the faint-hearted. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. But I guess the key there is if you have a real grounding as to who are you and what you do for the people you do it for, and be really, really clear and selective for the people you wish to do it with, I feel they are the recipes for our success. So, Graham, congratulations once again on all that, and I love what you're doing there. I'm going to move forward now. So, if you could do it all again, and let's think about the last 20 years in business. When you think about the last 20 years, you've gone from opening up to your team being owners in the business. You've gone into expansion and acquisition, and here we are at 2020. If you could do it all again, what would be two top things that you would do differently?
We had offices at Eltham and they were too small, and we had site sheds with people stuck out the back. We should have moved earlier. I would have progressed more with young engineers or young people more than having, let's say, we had a sort of a culture where you've got a problem, so you employ somebody just to fix that problem instead of employing the quality person that can learn how to fix that problem. So doing that differently, not putting people so much into boxes.
Wow, it just amazes me, Graham. You're always going back to the people, and it is the people that create a business. So I love, and I know this is not manufactured because I've been around you many hours to know how much you are true in your word there. Okay, how do you navigate through an economic downturn? I mean, you've been in business for, let's say, you've witnessed, from my count, at least 9, if not 10, economic downs, economic winters, economic crisis. And we are currently, and we shouldn't be fooled, in an economic crisis called COVID-19. How do you navigate a business, regardless of size, regardless of industry, regardless of place in the world, how do you navigate through a crisis, a recession, a downturn, and keep your wits enough to come and do it again? How do you do that? And I'll ask the second question to this, or the second part. How does COVID-19, in your opinion, rank or rate as compared to the others that you have experienced?
I'll answer that one first. And I think the shit's still going to hit the fan financially when we come through this, the illness or the sickness. And but I think financially, and I really feel for our grandchildren who are going to have to pay for this, and what we leave for the new generations. I think this is the worst I've ever experienced. And we haven't been hit with the financial. And I hope I'm wrong. But I just think financially, and my business, I think, is a great one to be in. Infrastructure, building bridges, railways, roads, and what have you. I feel, that we're going to be privileged compared with some people. Now, what was the first question?
The first question is, how do you navigate? What are the basics? What are the fundamentals as you have experienced a handful of these over the years? What are the fundamentals? Where do you batten down the hatches as it relates to, navigating through a crisis? And
okay, I get it. Like the last one was 30 odd years ago when Keating had interest rates of 21 or 19%. So that was easy. I just went out and borrowed money and paid all our suppliers and before I even got the product, and asked them for 10%. So I made about 100% profit. I loved it. I made a lot of money.
So...
But this is a different, never been here before. The world's never been here before. So I have to know that it's uncharted waters, and I talk to a small group that I have, some every week maybe, and look at what we have to do. We have to have quality people that are going to make a difference when we get through this. And if you want to retrain or make it happen, but if you're not going to be on the train with us, I'm sorry, you got to get off. Yeah.
So what are your pearls of wisdom as it relates to, definitely you need to contract your expenses or tighten up and become a little more frugal in certain areas. And in other areas, you need to be definitely the investor to capture the opportunity, because your competition's going to sleep right now or shit scared and they're running away. So what is the fine balancing act as to what do you contract and what do you invest in? What have you invested in times of crisis? What have you done as it relates to investment that got you ahead of the curve in a crisis?
Well, I bought 10 farms up the Riverina when agriculture was down. I'm looking to maybe buy a building company. I'm looking for opportunities. I'm always looking for opportunities and getting my staff to look at opportunities. So I love doing that.
So would you say the way out of a crisis is to be really finger on the pulse? And in the round table this Monday, Graham, when we were on that together, and there was a handful of us discussing, just thrashing out, a bunch of business owners having a chat. That's what the roundtable group is. And we discussed how, this is still an opportunity that's to be beckoned. I mean, even if the market contracts to 70%, even if it shuts down to 70% anywhere, whether it's retail, hospitality, commercial buildings, or whatever business you're in, if it goes down to 70%, do you believe there's still an opportunity to be a benchmark business?
Yeah, there's always an opportunity. And I suppose, how do we train our staff and the people that we're talking to? Like, I've got Omro sitting in the room here now. He wants to buy land or buy a couple of flats. Well, he's going to have an opportunity, because I reckon house prices are going to come down. So we talk like that. And it's just not about me. It's about their journey as well,
Yeah. So what are you most fearful of, Graham? I mean, I know I asked you the question, what keeps you awake earlier, but right now, what are you most fearful of? For the thing called COVID and how this plays out, what are you most fearful about? Where is your risk mitigation plan or mindset as it relates to not getting caught flat-footed? Where are you most fearful right now?
How do you define what's a life well lived when you're 80 years of age? And how do you want to live maybe the next 5 or 10 years? And how do I want to live that? That's the journey I'm on right now. How do I want to live that, being open and available to myself and to other people? And I'm learning that. It's a bit of a shock to be 80 years of age. I didn't really ever want to realize that, but shit, how long have I got? How long have you got?
Amazing. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but one of Warren Buffett's famous lines, he says, success in life is when you get over 70 and the people you want to love you actually do.
Well, that's very good. Yeah.
And that's Warren Buffett. So, and he's a genius when it comes to money, and he's a genius when it comes to life. So I'm so thankful that we got you on camera saying what you just said, because to me, and the next question is an important one, what are you most grateful in your life thus far? At this point, when you think about your life and the flash of life, what are you most grateful for?
Oh, friends, family, my intuitiveness self, that I've sort of recognized over the last 15 or 20 years. I never realized the gift I have in that area, and I suppose the people in the business world that are listening to this, you've got an intuitiveness and a gut feeling, and you're making it happen every day, and I support you, and get people around you that sort of nourish you. Like, even, if we just all hugged ourselves occasionally and appreciated ourselves in this world, I think it'd be a better world.
And in saying that, I'm so grateful to have you in my world, Graham. And I know you're my client, but I'm grateful to have you in my world, because you are a paradigm. You are a paradigm. You are a reference, a true reference, and I guess a possible picture that's worth looking into as it relates to age. Is a number, and what you choose to do with age, God willing, and if you look after your health, of course, which is the other parts of that, there is no finish line to life until you decide there is a finish line. And what is that you could share with us for those of us that I guess are in our 40s and maybe 50s, who may be feeling that we're getting close to a certain stage in life? What are your words of humbleness and humility as it relates to continuing the rage, continuing?
Well, what you just said, those nice words towards me in appreciation of our relationship and my journey, and that sort of brings tears to my eyes. And how do we become vulnerable and available to ourselves and to one another as human beings? And I'm still learning that.
So someone in their late 50s, Graham, who is in good shape mentally and let's say physically and you know their place of home and friendships and relationships are solid. You know, it's okay. It's stock standard stuff. What are your words of enlightenment as to continuing the journey of belonging to something that's going somewhere? If I was to ask this a different way, at the age of 60, Graham, what were you thinking as it related to business, and how are you here at 80?
I had goals that I wanted to achieve. I live on a farm that I decided to buy when I was 10 years of age, when my father was renting it. It took me another, I don't know, 15 or 20 years to buy it. And I've been there for 40 years and I've sold it to the Chinese, which I'm still wrestling with. But 760 acres at Yarra Glen, working it on the weekends, was just too much for me. So I sold it. But I've had goals that I went for and achieved and had people that helped me do it.
And do you think there's ever a time in life that you should run out of goals or dreams? Is there a stage in life, and my God, I'm in awe of having you in my presence right now and asking this question. Is there a time in life when you should stop pushing for the next goal or dream?
I'm not sure of that. In some ways, I'm in a space of just trying to nurture myself. I think I've nurtured people and supported people. And I think at this age, I'm trying to nurture myself and find the space for me. And I don't even quite know what that looks like.
But there are still dreams, aren't there?
Yeah, there's dreams and things I want to do. Yeah, but at 80 years of age, it's a journey and it changes all the time. You know, when you're 18 or something, you're chasing a bit of skirt maybe. Or you're 21 or something, you want to start breeding kids. It's a bit later these days, you know. So, you know, life changes. It's always changing. It's always changing.
And what do you think? What do you think, Graham, you'll be remembered for the most?
I made a difference. I made a difference. I had a go at loving and making a difference.
And if there was an opportunity to have an out-of-body experience right now and read. Actually, I'm trying to think of the famous story on this one, but I'll get to it in a minute. And read your somewhere in 50 years' time looking back. If you're able to be here in 50 years' time and look back and read something about you, for what you were remembered by, most importantly, what was your everlasting legacy and how it was written in a book about you, what do you think would be your everlasting legacy if you were reading about it in 50 years' time?
I had a go.
And?
I tried to make it happen.
And I'm going to remove the word try because
All
there wouldn't be.
I made it happen in lots of areas, and from a school boy that had extreme difficulties learning and still does today, and I still coped, and life was great for me, and I've been extremely fortunate in lots and lots of ways.
Beautiful. And Graham, you know, your ability to nurture, your ability to call it the way it is, your ability to still be a ball breaker, your ability to come in and change direction in a whim and freak people around you because they thought yesterday you told me to do something and today you're asking me to do something else. Mate, that's what's got you here. And if you didn't have that, it'd be a fucking political party, which means you would have been dead, right? As in business. So well done on what you believe in 50 years' time, looking back, is your legacy. We've got a handful of questions here, Graham, and I'm going to do my best to reel through them. And so Andrea asks, and please, we're going to have 5 to 10 minutes. So it's 5:50 now on my clock. We're going to have 10 minutes of Graham's time to do some Q&A and get involved, guys. Get engaged. I mean, there's a lot of people on this recording, so get on. So Andrea asks, "Hi, Graham. What are you looking for when you meet someone for the first time?"
I'm looking for the connection. What's happening in my physical body in that relationship. My body is a tuning fork.
Excellent. And I know you explained that a little earlier too. So more was discussed earlier on that. Stuart says, "Thank you for again, the motivation, the inspiration to live further than 65. And it's amazing to be in the presence of a wise man. Do you have any jobs available for Stuart?" He's a plumber who runs a great bloody plumbing business. I can't believe he just asked that question. But anyway, I'm asking the question. Do you have a job for Stuart who's about to throw in the towel with his own business to join your team?
Well, I do have a few people have thrown in their own businesses and we've joined up with them. I have a HR department and she's a lovely lady and she takes the phone calls and yeah, we're after people, quality people all the time.
But if you take Stuart on, you're going to have to supplement his business with another business you need to refer to me.
Okay, what's the next question? Come on.
You know, you owe me a few, Graham. Okay, next question. Carl asks, I've pivoted my business in the last 6 months. Before COVID, we were heading towards running a larger commercial plumbing business. I had 25 people employed. I've since put a direction towards more smaller project work. We are flourishing. I've gone back to 12 people. However, I'm not capping the amount of people I hire. Have you ever pivoted a business that needed a different direction?
Yeah, well, farming can be a shit when it's a drought. Farming is got to pivot all the time differently to weather, overseas markets. And I was brought up on farms. And so I learned to change with whatever hell's happening, floods, droughts, markets. So farming teaches you that. And how do you get into a position to realize that you have to pivot? You have to do something different. Because if it's not fucking working now, do something different.
What do you do in your free time? That's from Tom. What do you do in your free time and how do you relax?
I've got nearly 3 kilometres of Yarra and I walk up and down that and see all the shit that I should have done beforehand, but often I just see the water running past. I get on my little moke and go around, look at my cattle. I go and see friends. It's hard to stop my mind, but I can fucking sleep.
Hey, question from me. Define your, not elaborate, but favourite dinner.
Oh, sort of whatever's put in front of me. I trust women who cook and just put food there. I don't like it too hot, spicy. I don't like that. But look, I don't eat shit. I was brought up with mainly organic food and tasting. but I'm not that fussy.
And a question again, further to that, what is your morning ritual, Graham? What is your morning ritual? I've been doing a fair bit of study on this with various people around the world right now. And I thought I'd reach out to you with this question. What is your morning ritual?
I might wake up early. I might meditate for a quarter of an hour. If I wake up at say 4:45, I don't want to get up till 6:30. I might meditate and relax, and I might go off to sleep eventually. Then I'd look at what Lisa's put on my bloody phone or what I got to do today.
Okay, 2 more questions. From Katie, what is the one thing you have done in your life that you are most proud of?
I enjoy my children, but I think at 80 years of age, I'm starting to realize that I can be proud of. Just having my own identity and playing with that. It's like a child playing with it. And where am I going at 80 years of age? So it's the identity in me.
I love that answer. Thank you for that. And last and not least, do you wish to elaborate on your charity and your charitable work, which goes back a very, very long time, Graham? You know, when you think about, we run our business Benchmark Group runs from level 8 of Westfield Tower. And one of the most amazing things that connects us is, firstly, your first mentor, official mentor, you had at 22, I had at 23. And we have a place called Westfield Tower that connects us, unbeknown to both of us when we first met. Talk about your charitable work. Share your charitable work.
Yeah, righto. Well, you're talking about before Westfield Doncaster was constructed, or even the permit was given. I was with one of my mentors, Les Cameron, who imported Kenworth trucks and ran them out of Doncaster for a while. And he mentored me, and we started Doncare off, the largest counselling centre in Australia. And we went to Westfield and said, what are you going to do for the community? They said, what do you mean? We're just going to build a shopping centre. We said, no, you better give us something before you get a permit. Yeah, we twisted them a bit, but it was a bit of fun. And it was a group of some churches and business people that got together. And so we made it happen. I'm a life member there. I think I was a person, I was on the board, chairman of the board for many years. And now I run a group at the Vine and Branches Education Centre opposite Odyssey House. And last night, and for 32 years, I've been running groups for people, and they come in and out as they want to. And we were running it, and I had one person from Lebanon checked in, and the rest were in Australia. So, and we just support business people, people in emotional situations, able people wanting to be more able. So that's the space I create. If they want to, even if they want to die, I'll hold their hand.
Congratulations, Graham. To be charitable and having philanthropy as one of your key personal values is a heightened level of respect from me on that for you. And final word, Graham. Final word. If you were running the country right now, Scott Morrison, and I'm not asking for your political views here, but if you were running the country right now, what would you be doing, continuing or stopping or starting differently? What would you be doing differently or continuing or starting or stopping if you were Scott Morrison right now? This is the final question.
Well, I think the last 10 years or so, we've destroyed the connectionness of being Aussie or being Australian. And how do we start to work together? I know we've all got different ideas, but this is one of the best countries in the world. How do we make it better? And how do we use the resources of the people that come here to make it better and more connected? And I haven't got all the answers to that, but I think in some places, because of this crisis, that we've joined in a bit, but I hope the hell we don't go back to this divisions and political scoring as we've done in the past.
Graham, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. And from our total community, our whole community, for which, you know, there are plenty that are here and there'll be plenty that get to see this this conversation. And it was a conversation, that's all it was. And I so appreciate you for being available and committed and again, you know, spontaneous in many ways. However, very, very, very thoughtful and liberal with your sharing. I so appreciate you and everything you do, and your team, your business, your life, your family should be so proud of you. And I'm so glad to hear, you know, at the age of 80, you still have a chance to be shaping your identity. You still have a chance to be shaped and guided and seeking counsel and listening as you also share and tell and people listen to that. I just want to thank you. It's been an unbelievable hour for me, and I appreciate and thank you for the privilege.
And thank you for listening and giving me this opportunity to share some of my life. And the people watching, just care for yourself, make it happen. Lots of love. Bye.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you, team. Thank you.